You're studying for the CFP exam and drowning in study material. So one night, out of sheer desperation, you fire up Claude and ask it to explain depreciation recapture. And somehow, Claude explains it 10 times better than what your course prep book does. But can you trust it? I mean, AI does sometimes give wrong answers. It even says so right here. And maybe it's giving you 2024 numbers or states a rule with total confidence that just simply doesn't exist. Now, if you don't know how to catch those things, you might be building your understanding on something completely made up. So what do you do? Well, the answer is to not use AI. And it's not to have some weird off and on relationship where you only hit it up at night when you're desperate. And what I find that most people do is that they occasionally use Claude just to do one thing, explain a concept that they don't understand, which is fine. It does that well, but it's also the least powerful thing that Claude can do for you. AI, Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever, can turbocharge your studying so much more. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to get reliable answers from AI, and then 3 levels of using it on practice problems. Level 3 being the one that really changes how studying feels. Now, let's start with the reliability piece, because none of this matters if you don't trust the answers you're getting. The good news is the models have gotten dramatically better over the last year alone. So if you haven't tried Sonnet 4.6, and there's actually better models now, or the equivalent models at, again, Google or ChatGPT, you're going to be in for a great surprise. Hallucinations have been minimized by training models to ask questions instead of simply making things up. And the models now know how to use calculation tools to double check their math. Plus, there are a couple specific habits that you can do to close any remaining gaps. The first of which is pretty straightforward. Always tell it what tax year to use. Just simply say, always use 2026 tax figures. You can also upload the board's tax tables to the LLM if you want to. And every time you start a new chat, it's a pretty simple 3-second thing that eliminates all sorts of possible wrong answers. The second thing you can do is reinforce the don't make things up rule. I know, I just said that these models are so much better about flagging uncertainty, but you could always reinforce it. So simply add, if you're not sure about something, tell me you're not sure instead of guessing. And third, and this is the one that most people skip, 1 chat per task. AI models have a context window. Think about it as like your brain attention span. It's the limit of how much of a conversation they're tracking at any given point in time. If you've got one giant chat that you started 3 weeks ago where you were talking about income tax, and now you're asking it about health insurance, well, the model is working with a lot of noise. A fresh chat for each session or topic or even question keeps things clean. When in doubt, new chat. Now, those 3 habits aren't going to make AI infallible, but it's going to make it consistently reliable enough to actually use it. So let's talking about use it. Let's start with level 1. When you get a practice problem wrong, what are you usually doing? Probably check the answer key, right? Maybe read the explanation if your provider includes one. You nod your head. Yeah, sure. Makes sense. You move on. Here's the problem with that. Of course it makes sense when you're reading the right answer. The right answer always looks obvious in hindsight, but that's not actually learning. That's just passive input, kind of like rewatching a lecture. What you actually need to do is figure out why you got it wrong, not why the right answer is right. Those are different things. The why is the gap in your mental model that sent you down the wrong path in the first place. If you don't change that, you're going to continually go down that path. 2 weeks from now, you're going to get a practice problem on the same topic, worded in a slightly different way, and you're going to make the same underlying error. So when you get a practice problem wrong, paste the whole thing into a fresh chat and ask 2 specific things. Why is the correct answer right? And remember, important part, why is the answer I chose wrong? So again, not simply explain the answer. You want to say, what error does my wrong answer represent? That way, you're not just memorizing a right answer, you're refining your own mental model. That brings us to level 2. Level 2 is where things get strategic. So level 1 tells you why you got one question wrong. Level 2 tells you why you keep on getting the same type of question wrong. And here's why the distinction matters. The CFP exam tests you on, I don't know, hundreds of different facts and rules. If you get one wrong once, not a big deal. But if you're consistently getting it wrong, that's when you want to spend extra time. Now, most people are not tracking the errors. They just do more problems and hope that magically everything will work itself out, which obviously you're going to get that exact problem on your version of exam when you take it. So here's the level 2 move. At the end of a study session, after the end of your 90 minutes or whatever it is, paste all of your level 1 debriefs into a new chat and ask, based on the questions I got wrong, what conceptual gaps or errors keep showing up? AI is genuinely good at this. It's going to read across all sets of mistakes and identify through lines. So maybe you're easily distracted by a certain type of question. Maybe you keep treating personal use asset losses as deductible. Whatever it is, these are patterns that you're probably not noticing because you're focusing on question by question, but it can see a through line. And here's the thing. AI can maintain a running document of those for you. So rather than this mega chat called tax planning, you can tell Claude, hey, keep a running error log for me. Every time I give you a wrong answer debrief, add it to the lessons in this doc. Then at the start of your session, you can paste in that error log and say, hey, before we get started, here are the things that I've been getting wrong. Now Claude or whatever AI you're using has context on your specific gaps before you even ask it a single question. That's a great personal feedback loop that just gets better the longer you use it. Which brings us to level 3, the one that honestly changes what studying feels like. Now, before I go there, quick thing, everything that I've just described involves copying and pasting, like remembering to use a prompt and keeping your error log updated and pasting that over and over again. It can be a lot, especially when you're stressed out and already behind on studying. So I have packaged it all together into a downloadable skill. So you install it once and it runs the whole process for you every single time. You paste a question into Claude and it handles the level 1 debrief automatically. It maintains your error log automatically. You don't have to remember the prompts or dig through your notes to find them. Install it once and it does it every single time. Link down in the description. All right, so level 3. At some point, people run out of practice questions. Sure, your cubing has 2,000 practice questions, but it likely only has a dozen on charitable gift deduction, for example. And maybe that's a topic that you find challenging. Once you've worked through that dozen, you're not really practicing anymore. You are reviewing. See, reviewing is seeing the same thing you've seen before and just confirming, yep, sounds right. Practicing is encountering something new and again, having to retrieve your knowledge under pressure. The exam, all practice. So what do you do if your cubing doesn't have enough questions on a specific topic? Well, you can ask Claude to write you new ones. Take the question you got wrong or take several questions that you got wrong. Take that level 1 debrief, the explanation of the error that your wrong answer represented, feed it into a new chat and say, generate 3 new practice questions that test the same underlying concept as this one. Do not repeat the facts from these questions. Write new scenarios that require the same reasoning. And that's it. AI has enough to work from it. It knows the core concept that's being tested. It knows the errors that you've been making, and it can write variations that give you a chance to try the problem again, not just review it. Now, a couple things worth noting here. First, the questions that's going to generate, they're not going to be perfect. I wouldn't exactly call them exam style, though you can try to get close. They occasionally will be worded awkwardly or test something slightly adjacent to what you were asking for. So treat them as practice reps, again, not like exam quality questions. Review them with a critical eye. Second, the more specific you are, the better the output it's going to give you. So telling it, give me more section 121 questions is less useful than give me more questions that test whether a client satisfies the 2 to 5 year use test in a borderline scenario. That's where using your level 1 debriefs really come in handy. And if you're wondering if this really works, this is a simplified version of the same process I am using to build a question bank for my students. I'm putting together a deep dive on tax planning with a dozen, or actually probably 24 lessons on the most highly tested topics, several hundred practice problems built around those concepts, edge cases, and some harder questions, but only of the type that actually show up on the exam. I have seen so many masochistic, impossible questions, you know who you are, that pop up in some of these Q-Banks. So if you're interested in purchasing the course when it comes out, join my newsletter. The link is in the description. You will be the first to know. All right, so all the things we talked about today, closing your individual mistakes, spotting patterns across many mistakes, and generating new practice problems, these will change how you extract value from practice problems. But that also assumes you know how to reason through CFP style questions, particularly the hard ones. And most candidates don't. They've seen answer banks, they've maybe seen people doing a question or two, but they rarely watch people actually walk through reading this down, eliminating distractors, and landing on the right answer, particularly when you get it down to just 2. That is what my practice problem walkthrough videos do. I've got a playlist here of the YouTube shorts, and I will be adding more in long form video this exam cycle. So good luck studying, and I will see you in the next one.